Brilliant. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for the warm introductions, Chris. So as Chris says, my talk today is entitled Technical Innovation in E-Commerce. What I'm going to do over pretty much the next 15 minutes is talk about 4 key technologies. They're relatively new. Some of you may have come across a couple of them before, but I really hope that you all leave today learning something new and, if it goes really well, wanting to implement some of this. So just before we get started, as Chris says, my name's Aran. I'm the Head of Client Strategy at Evosite. My background is as a developer. I'm a techie. I normally hide in a big dark room far from this. And I've worked on a lot of big brand sites for people like Nutella, TUI Travel, or Ashley, to name just a few. So yeah, this is kind of my day-to-day. I'm hoping to try and do as little as that today and to make it as easy for you all to understand. So that's my goal. So what are these 4 things that I'm going to cover? So first up is a great new way that you can start making your mobile experiences fast. Most of you have probably got a responsive site or a dedicated mobile site already, but you can take that step further now. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to look at. We're then going to come to cross-device sign-in. These days we live in multi-device worlds, so as Alex was just saying a moment ago, people pick out their mobile phone, they'll spend about a minute on it, but that happens multiple times in a day. So in the e-commerce journey, quite often it will start with a mobile, but it might not end on a mobile. So we're going to have a look at cross-device sign-in and a way that you can try and make that a bit easier. Thirdly, simplifying payments on mobile. You've probably all tried making a payment on mobile before, especially if we're spending less than a minute on a site. Good luck trying to make a payment on mobile if it's a site you haven't used before. So we're going to look at a great way that you can try and make that a really easy experience for your customers. And then lastly, we're going to look at a newer platform for making great customer service. Okay, so let's get started. So first up, as we say, how you can make mobile faster. So quick history lesson. Current size of the average web page on the internet as of April this year was about 2.25 meg. Doesn't sound like much, but when you're on a slow connection on a mobile phone, that can be quite bad. Perhaps your connection's patchy, it'll drop out. 2.25 meg, it's not ideal. That's actually risen 12% since the prior year. So we're getting more and more a case where the sites are getting bigger and heavier, and ultimately the experience on mobile is getting slower. And in the last year, we've observed more than 13% increase in users. So these are people who were originally on desktop devices and are now coming back on mobile devices, so either a mobile phone or a tablet. So the picture there is that more users are coming on from mobile, web pages are getting bigger and slower, and ultimately something needs to be done to try and speed that up. So I've got a quick split test here. So this is 2 websites side by side. The websites are pretty much in the same sector, and the price point of the items they sell is pretty similar as well. So the main difference that would kind of perhaps lead you to one site versus another and who would get your purchase, you could say is the speed of the site or the experience as a whole. So just going to run this through and tell me at the end which site you'd rather be shopping with. Okay, so about 4 seconds, the first site is pretty much loaded, finishes shortly after about 5.5 seconds. Second site still loading, things jumping around, Trustpilot's coming in, live chat's coming in, and it's done, 17.1 seconds. So quick show of hands, who would rather shop on website 1 rather than website 2? That was pretty inevitable. But that's kind of proving a point. It matters to everyone how fast your mobile experiences are, so I'm kind of glad you said website 1 there, otherwise this wouldn't work. So what's this technology? The technology that I want to talk about for trying to make mobile faster is one called AMP, or AMP. So AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages, and this was a standard set out by some really smart people at companies like Google and Twitter, and many, many others. It's an open source standard, and what they're doing is they're trying to improve and update what is quite archaic, which was the HTML standard, the thing that all web pages are built upon. So AMP works using a subset of it. So the things that typically make our sites slow is lots of CSS and JavaScript. I won't go into exactly what they are, but they make your site look pretty and give you some cool functionality that you kind of expect. But AMP kind of restricts the developers on what they can do. And through restricting them and putting in all this CSS and JavaScript, your pages become smaller and they load faster. But what they take away they give you back natively. So the functionality that you're no longer able to build yourself, a lot of it is already in there. So that means you can build it quicker, and it will load faster. So that's win-win. So the sort of functionality I'm talking about is things like, perhaps you've got a burger menu on your site, big pop-out nav, or carousels. Most of you have probably got those on your sites. When I say a burger menu, that's not what I was talking about. I'm referring to those things. So here's an example. So this is one with AMP itself. So you click the menu, slides out. The kind of behaviour that most of you are putting on your mobile sites, that already exists as standard in AMP. So it's one less thing for your developers to do, and it's less weight to your web pages. And as I said, carousels as well, they're all there. So whether it's touch and swipe, or you're paginating, with clicking on the left and right icons, that's all standard functionality in AMP. And there's lots more, but I've just picked out those two common examples. So the Washington Post, really big publication in America for anyone who's not aware of it, was one of the first sites to adopt AMP. There's an example of one of their articles I pulled off a few days ago, and you wouldn't say, looking at it, or at least I hope you wouldn't, that it's lacking in functionality or visually. It looks the same as their old mobile site does, completely. If you saw them side by side, you wouldn't know that one was running on AMP and one was a normal HTML responsive site. Functionality, behaviourally, they were the same. But their AMP site loaded 88% quicker than their HTML version they had before. And that's not a desktop site, that's against their mobile site that was already optimised. So if I said to you, would you rather have a site that could load 88% faster? Pretty sure, judging by that show of hands earlier, we know the answer. But not only that, because they were delivering such great experiences, being faster, more users were coming back. And over a 7-day period, they saw more users returning, in fact 23% more users returning from search. So when it first started, AMP was kind of envisioned as being something for blogs and publications, hence people like The Guardian were another big adopter of it. But as of last month, exactly a month today in fact, Google announced that search results are now AMP. So if you perform a search and the site has support for AMP, which you can see there, you get a little icon next to it with a little flash symbol that says AMP. And that tells you that that site has been optimised and will give you a great experience on mobile. And eBay were one of the first e-commerce retailers to take advantage of this. So eBay.co.uk and .com are already using it across all of their category pages. You probably haven't noticed, but trust me, their stats will be. Okay, so that's AMP. Next up is cross-device sign-in. And as I said a moment ago, we really do live in a cross-device world. And again, drawing on the stat Alex had, that the typical mobile users today take their phone out so many times, but are barely spending more than a minute each time they're using their phone. And if any of you have looked at Google Analytics anywhere near as much as I do, you'll know that the sessions typically will start on mobile, but a lot of people are coming back on desktop or on a laptop later on in the day when it's more convenient for them, and that's where they're completing their purchases. So the link here will come up in just a second, but many of you are probably familiar with password managers. You probably use LastPass or KeePass if you're an enterprise. Basically, these are safe and secure places that you can keep your passwords. One you may not associate is your web browser. So you've probably all at one point logged into a website and seen a picture similar to that that says, do you want me to save your details? And most of you have probably said yes at one point or another. So browsers are now taking this a step further. If you've logged in, not only when you come to the form later on will it be pre-filled like it currently is. So this is an example of a current journey from landing on a home page to going to the register page, which is pre-filled because I saved the details, to then clicking login and then taking me to the account area. So that's the current behaviour I would have if I'd started a journey on a mobile and then tried coming back on a desktop later on. I'd kind of have to go through a flow like that, meaning multiple steps just to get me logged in and return to the cart I previously had. What if you could cut out all three of those steps? So browsers like Chrome was the first to support this, now allow you to automatically sign back in. So from a security point, there's probably a few people thinking, it's still using the same details you've already saved. It's just stopping you clicking on the account, clicking login, returning from a dashboard, and then going to your cart. It just means the data you've already saved and shared with your browser can be used to sign you straight back in when you return. So it's cutting out multiple steps in the journey and making that experience faster. So I could have started on my mobile and just opened it on my desktop at home, and that saved password would bring me straight in, and the website would load my cart back. So, great experience for me. As an added benefit, browsers like Chrome are also now doing password generation for you. So, developers like me constantly preach, come up with a secure password, don't use the same one on different websites. So, the browser can take care of this for you. And you don't need to worry about saving it in your phone for later, because the browser's going to remember it. The browser these days is a password manager. So as soon as you tell it to generate one, you submit the form and your registration is complete, the browser will remember it and it will sign you in again next time. So you don't need to worry about it. So there are again some big sites that are already starting to adopt these new standards. The Guardian was one of the first, and the best stat that they've seen was a 44% increase in cross-platform signed-in users. So what does that mean for them? That means they can deliver all of their customers a better experience. So from their point of view, they can target their ads better. If they know what they've looked at on one device and they're coming back from another, it's great. If they were signed in and had a subscription, they don't have to sign in again. So when they come back, you just bring back their history. And they can also start personalizing, so they can tailor their content around what they know about that customer. It starts joining up the dots. Okay, so that's cross-device sign-in. Next up is how you can simplify payments on mobile, and this one's really cool. So here's a fairly typical, right, simplified a little bit, but checkout flow. After you've added items to your cart, step one, you'd then proceed in. You'd fill out a long registration form, you'd then go through the payment. After payment, you'd possibly have a 3D secure page from your bank, and then eventually you'd get through to confirmation. And on mobile, it's pretty clunky. Trying to fill in each of the form fields is also quite error-prone. And for that reason, you typically see quite a low conversion rate on a mobile device as opposed to a desktop. But what if I told you that you could cut out the last two steps there? So from the cart page, you could just place your order without having to complete the other two steps, even if you've never used the site before. So, quick demo I threw together the other day. This has taken advantage of a new feature that's just coming to the web now. Google Chrome is the first browser to support it, and it already supports it on Android. So if you're using Chrome on Android, you can do this on any site today. So what's happening here? When I was on the cart, I clicked the Proceed to Checkout button, same as I would have before. But what's happening is the browser is then bringing up a form of its own, and it's giving all the details it knows from my own Google account. So in there, because I've used things like the Google Play Store, or I've used Android Pay, it knows my address, it knows my card details, there you go. And I can then leverage those details to try and complete a payment faster. So when I've got to this page, it's saying, here's some addresses you've used before, here's some saved cards in your Google account. It doesn't give them to the website until you say, yes, I'm happy to. So in theory, if your default address is correct and your default payment method is correct, your email address, your phone number, any details you want to share are correct, you just click that pay button and you're done. On a website you've never shopped with before. So what was a fairly painful process before is now pretty much a one-click checkout on a site even if you haven't shopped there before. So it's going to make things quicker and easier. So I said that it's already available on Chrome on Android. Chrome on Android has a current 22% market usage. So we're not talking about a really tiny segment of your users that you can target. 22% of your users, that's a UK stat, can already take advantage of this today. So it's a pretty big deal. And other browser vendors have said that they're working on support and it's coming to desktop as well. So it's not just going to be a mobile feature. Okay. And last but not least, great new channel for delivering customer service. So what I'm focusing on here is the Facebook Messenger platform. So I was making a purchase the other day, buying something nice for my other half, and I got to the confirmation page after making payment, and they had a nice little send to messenger button on it. I thought I'd try it, didn't really know what I was expecting, and this was a purchase I was making on my desktop. Almost instantly after clicking it, notification popped up on my phone, looking something like this, saying, here's your order confirmation and thanks for shopping with us. In there I had a full receipt, I could go in and see every detail about the order, what I purchased, how much I paid, and it was quite nice. I mean, this is data I would have had in an email already, so it was kind of duplicating, it wasn't a big deal. But what I really liked was the message underneath that. If you have any questions, just message us here. If any of you have had a problem with an order you've placed online before, a lot of the order confirmation emails that you'll have received are very commonly from something like a no reply email or an email that's not monitored. So trying to reach out to the company and say, hey, I've had a problem, or my order hasn't arrived, it can be a bit difficult. So even though this didn't come from a human and this was completely automated, I love the fact that there was a medium that I could really easily contact the store. So it felt nice. I didn't have to use it, but I thought it was a great experience. So a couple of days passed, and I got another message on there. Your shipment's now on the way. And there were two things that were nice about that. One, it included a map showing me exactly where my order was going. So instantly, didn't have to read anything, I just recognised the address, it was pinned on my home. So I was fine, yeah, I've delivered it to the right address, great. But underneath that were two great call to actions. View my order details and track my shipment. Didn't have to hunt around in my SMS messages or anything else. It was all grouped within the conversation I'd had with that company. So from my point of view, I thought that was fantastic. And none of that required any human time. But as a customer, I felt looked after, I felt I had an approachable way to get to them. I thought it was brilliant. So that's one approach that you can use the Messenger platform, where if you send a message, you'd be speaking to a human. But you can also use what's called Messenger bots. So here's a quick video that I've taken from KLM and the experience that they've just started to roll out, which uses a bot approach. So again, starts with the Messenger plugin. So as soon as you place your order on KLM, you get the same button. Do you want to send to Messenger? Same experience as I would have seen. They quickly sent me a message and said, here's your order details. But in this case, it was a flight ticket. You can drill down into it, you can see exactly what's going on with that flight. Later on, when your check-in opens, they send the customers a timely notification saying, your check-in's just opened up, here's your gate, here's your time of departure, everything's looking on time. Again, really, really nice. When it comes time to board, they'll send you a boarding pass. So when you get to the gate, you've not got to fumble about through your bags and find your tickets. As soon as you press on that, it's a QR code, they just scan that at the gate, done, straight through, nice and quick. If your flights were delayed, again, the bot will automatically notify you and say, really sorry, flight's been delayed. So that means no standing and sitting in a lounge staring at a TV waiting for it. And finally, if you ever have a question, their bot's trained to respond to a lot of things by default, such as this. They did a change seat request, and the bot just changed their seat. Must have been available, but yeah. I thought that was a great experience and a great demo of what the bot can achieve. It won't work for every business by any means, but I just wanted to kind of show you the other side of it. If anyone does want to try out a bot, we built one for the event today. Something we threw together quite quickly, but it's a bit of fun. Please do go on and try it. If you want to, just go to m.me/ecommercesw. That'll load up Messenger on your phone, and please do just start messaging. There's also a few hidden secrets/golden nuggets in there. So yeah, see what you can do to uncover them. So just to quickly summarise, we looked at how you can make your sites faster on mobile using technology called AMP. We then looked at how you can try and create a cross-device experience, and this leverages something called the Credential Management API. Next up, we looked about simplifying mobile payments, and that uses the Payment Request API. Again, these are brand new web standards. And then finally, we rounded off looking at the Messenger platform. So that's all from me. I hope that was helpful for you all. If anyone does have any questions, I'll be back over on the Evosite stand shortly after at the next break. Please do come over and have a chat. Thank you.